want to ask Alex and education and what we will fix. Okay.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day. Father, we ask that you are helping us find a way to get a vaccine made, and that we have asked you help us stay on top of that. Help these scientists come up with something that will help these people, all us people in this world of yours, to help control this disease. Father, as our kids start to school this week, please keep them safe, and the teachers too, so they will, because they're our future in the coming years. Father, we thank you for these leaders that have come together today. We ask that you lead and guide us in our lives and make a great decision for the people of Limestone County. Father, I ask you to bless the ladies and men here in this court today, and above all, bless all the children in the world. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Yeah. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay. Okay, as far as roll call goes, show that everyone is present with the exception of Commissioner Baker, who called in a little under the weather. So we'll now move to citizen comments. Okay. That being the case, then we'll go to the consent agenda. Before we get moving too far on the consent agenda, as a lot of y'all know, the extension office had a retirement last week, I guess it was the week after, anyway. Might be last week, I get confused on what day of the week it is. And I think Dave's got a new employee, and he'd like to introduce that new employee.
Gloria retired on July 31st, and she served close to 5 years. And after she retired, we opened it up. I guess before she retired, we opened the job up, had several good applications. We ended up ultimately deciding on Brandy Urey. Brandy grew up here in the county and has been working in McLennan County for all the past 10 years or so. So she's been there for a little bit and worked in McLennan County adult probation and made her move over here to us. And so she's going to be eventually probably residing here as well. So we're glad to have her. I think she's going to have an excellent resume. She's going to be an excellent asset, but I want y'all to see, put a face with a name, and so stuff coming from our office will be coming from Brandon. Just want to introduce her to you.
Brandon, like to love you. Do you drink coffee?
I don't.
That's good news for me, because Gloria just about broke me. Welcome to the county.
Thank you.
We hope to know that for you. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we'll look back at the consent agenda. I know y'all got your packet and had a chance to go through it this time. Is there is one other thing that I do want to talk about before we, and they're not here today, but in that consent agenda, you'll see where there was a donation made of $4,500 for the Limestone County Fairground Annex Building remodel project. I guess they didn't want their name mentioned. Is that what you understood? Or that even? I don't think that's the case, but anyway, the Grays came out and they decided they wanted to do a lot more work out there in that annex building. And so they have given a check for $4,500 to that Growth Tech Annex building. So once again, and we do it very often with the Grays, we'll thank them for their generosity to the county. Past that, is there anything else that y'all need to discuss as far as the consent agenda?
Yeah, Richard, the minutes of the last meeting,
Okay.
they're showing that I was absent, and Mr. Bobby Forrest was present. And Bobby Forrest was at the time, right?
I thought you would.
Sometimes it's hard to differentiate.
Yeah, I hope I'm not starting to look back.
Okay. All right,
Yeah, okay.
we'll get, we'll make note of that, and so y'all can approve it with that, correction, and I'll make that correction. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve that consent agenda. Is there any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Is there any opposed? At this time, we will, accept for record the required monthly operation reports from the county officials. We can start going down the line if you like. We'll start with fairground. Do you have any other report that you'd like to make to us?
Well, yes, I'd like to say that really good news, we had the best month ever financially at the fairgrounds in July. We exceeded our last one by several $100. We had a really good month last year too. Seemed like in the spring, we had these events kind of line up and it falls that way. But I'm just happy to report that. And also, I gave you a revised copy of the financial sheet, which the first copy didn't show the columns being totaled. And I wanted you to see what difference it makes with, when we're able to rent a bunch of stalls and RV spots. That was the highest number we've ever had too. So, that just brings us around to another subject for later on is possibility of increasing the number of stalls and RVs, which will increase our revenue as we go along. So that's just something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go to juvenile probation.
Yes, Judge, what I'd like to report that, the Commissioner's Court is that we did approve, the juvenile board did approve the budget, last Friday, juvenile board meeting. Not sure how far you'll elaborate on it, it might be something that you want to elaborate on, funding, how it was funded, I'm not sure that's what you want to go into.
Well, and I can do that if you like. What we met about, was trying to approve the budget out there. I got with, Brian, and we tightened that budget up a little bit, and the main reason being is because for the last whatever years, Limestone County was budgeting X number of dollars, and if they didn't spend that money stayed into a reserve for the juvenile probation. Well, that reserve fund got to be just under $1.2 million. And so, I asked that we find a way to get that money back to the county and to the taxpayers that ultimately are the ones that provided that money. And we decided that for this year, if we can, and we're still working on it, that we not budget anything in that department. We use part of that money to offset the budget. And so, that may happen this year, may happen next year. Or we're gonna see how we can legally do it. So that was about, $270,000, plus you already put 100, so we're talking about.
Our objective was about 170-something thousand for limestone, freestone was about 160 or 70, or a little less than that. And then reserves was gonna be 177. Now, we budgeted about 500,000 out of reserves total. So limestone wouldn't have to come up with, last year, probably around 200,000 last year.
Well, so 55% of $500,000 is how much? A little bit over 250, right?
Oh, 500, yes.
I mean, that's what you're looking at. So we're looking at a pretty good windfall for Limestone County just in that one department of trying to recoup some of that money. Again, it's not monies that we're trying to just find ways to spend. It's finding ways that we can possibly adjust our tax rate and then maybe buy some things that we weren't going to be able to buy this year. So anyway, I think y'all can keep at least a couple $100,000 in your mind, knowing that when it comes time to do vehicles or whatever we might need to do, that we'll have that money this year. Anything else?
No, that's all.
Any questions on that? Okay, Mr. Fortune, you got anything? I know you, one time you, okay. How about the sheriff department?
Today's jail population is 135. We have 94 males, 17 females, 17 in Freestone County. We have 16 that are ready to go to PDC or state jail. I'm just waiting on beds. for the month, we only had one transport with the female to Plains Union. Well, we had 1,123 miles of transports just on that for inmates back and forth to Scott and Latin Temple for the month. So we've been running the roads there and medical appointments for inmates.
One of the things that Murray and I talked about yesterday, and of course the sheriff was there also, is that we got to find out why our local LMC is requiring people to go see folks in Temple. You'd think that Waco would have everything Temple has, and that's a whole lot closer for us, with a whole lot less time on our deputies are having to go, less mileage, a lot of positives. So I'm probably going to call and ask, is there a reason that we're using Temple when I think Scott and White have, they're right in Waco now, right? That's what I think. Correct. So we're going to try to see if we can do something to them that they don't think about it, but it costs us a lot of money. Okay, anything else for the sheriff's department? Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to make a presentation? Okay, if not, then we'll go ahead and ask the commissioner's court to approve those monthly reports.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll move to item number 8, which is receive and approve a safety report concerning any accidents or safety concerns in the past month. Commissioner Allen?
We just had a verbal walk around, speak to the employees yesterday morning, and just kind of had a safety meeting, just verbally with each one of them. And we have had no accidents since the last safety meeting. Also moved to accept the safety report.
Second.
And we'll go ahead and have a motion in a second. Is there any other discussion on this item? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion will pass, and we'll move down to number 9. That's discussion and possible action on enacting the county burn ban.
Yes, sir, Judge.
Go ahead.
Currently, it's 582, which is over the minimum threshold. So in my opinion, it's the proper time and we're proper enough. So I will go ahead and my recommendation be with it.
Okay, any other discussion amongst the commissioners? I know we haven't had any rain, and I don't think there's any forecast for a while, so.
Next on that week. I move we enact the county burn ban.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on this? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is we're going to discuss and or take some action on the right of way on LCR 892 and LCR 900. And this is for Mr. Bill Hutchinson. I don't see him here, but Jerry, you're familiar with this.
Right.
So go ahead and tell the commissioner what this is.
He's wanting to walk around a inch and a quarter DC water line under the roads to get water to his property. Water doesn't quite to his property, so he's wanting to do it himself. He's doing it the normal, going to be road board, basic, whole nine. This is a standard.
That's your road,
No, that's not. I move we approve the right of way under 892, 900 for Bill Hutchinson.
Second. We have a motion and a second now. Is there any other discussion on this item? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The next 2 items are items that I believe Mr. Ed Swilly was going to present to us. He was unable to make it, so we're probably going to put this off until the next meeting. We can either pass it or y'all can make a motion to table it either way. Just pass it on. Okay, let's just pass it. And we'll get back to that when Mr. Swilly's doing that. Item number 13 is discussion or take action on imposition of optional fees for Department of Motor Vehicles. We have tax assessor collector here to tell us everything that we want to know.
We are currently set at the max fee that we're allowed, which is $10 per vehicle registration. I would suggest we stay at that. We can either stay or reduce to $5.
We've been there for a
We've
long
been
time,
there
years.
for years.
I move that we accept the operational fees for the Department of Motor Vehicles.
You have a motion. Second. And a second. Any other discussion on this item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is item number 14, and that's going to be to discuss and or take action on transfer of funds from contingency to Lake Injection road material.
Judge, I asked that be put on there, just so Sonny wouldn't have to ring his own bell. During the flood, there was a considerable amount of money spent in precinct 2 that initially had to come out of his budget with roads washed out, culverts washed out, some bridge damage, et cetera. And I think we still have $90,000 in the contingency fund.
No.
How much is it? So I know we took out 200, and we took out something else.
39.
39.5. The, what is this is the end of August. And talking to Jerry Aaron, Jerry, 15, 20, what would it take? What do you think was spent extra in his due to the flood? Then I move we use 15 out of contingencies to road and use materials.
Several roads we can't rock back.
They told me 13,000 in the hole already.
Good, yeah, that's what I see.
Okay,
That's what
did you hear that?
So,
There's still 400,000 in road materials.
well, and I understand that.
Okay.
I mean, I just,
That's what.
this was money out of the ordinary.
Not in Sundays, it's not.
Okay, but I'm just,
Well, we don't keep up with it like that. I mean,
we've got, about a month and a half to spend 400,000. It doesn't matter which department it comes out of. I think Natasha's going to know that just read line.
otherwise,
Okay.
and they're spending it there.
So you want 15?
Well, that's just a motion I'm making.
Okay.
I just think it's fair to Commissioner Baker that a storm damage, that's what we had the contingency for, and we hold up moving it generally till about June or so, and we move it to 200. And I just think we need to move an additional 20. I realize we don't keep up with it separate, but down there, they'll know, and I said additional
15, not 15.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
The motion was, for 15,000. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, next item is, and we'll ask, Stacy to come forward again, for the presentation of 2020 certified appraisal values. And, we'll probably combine that into item number 16, presentation of 2020 tax rate calculations. You do have the floor, ma'am?
Yeah, I believe in your packet, you should have a copy of the comparison values between last year and this year. I received the certified values from Limestone County Appraisal District, as we do every year this time of year. If you'll skip down to the second highlighted line, that's really what we're interested in as far as tax rate and budget purposes. And you will notice in the last column that our values increased by $121,686,592. I will tell you about 44% of that was the new pipeline that came through this past year. So those are values and the increase that we're showing this year.
Do y'all want to approve those certified appraisal values as presented by the tax assessor collector?
So moved.
Second. We do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now let's talk about the presentation of 2020 tax rate calculation.
I have taken those values and calculated the tax rate for this year. There's been many changes. The no new revenue tax rate, which was previously the effective rate, which basically generates the same revenue as last year, calculated 2.7578. The breakdown on that for the general fund was 0.7083. Road and Bridge, 0.0255, and Farm to Market, 0.0240. The voter approval rate, which was previously the rollback rate, breakdown on that is general fund, 0.7387, Road and Bridge, 0.0277, Farm to Market, 0.0261, for a total rate of 0.7925.
We need to try to figure out if we want to, and basically, the problem with the tax rate is when the appraisal district goes up, everyone's taxes go up. And by their taxes going up, that gives us more money for that new, what's it called now? No new revenue fund, formerly known as the effective tax rate. And so we have to try to decide and play a juggling game here of where we need to be. If we stay right where we were last year, then we're seeing quite a bit more money to the county. But in all fairness, I would like to see us reduce what we did last year down a little bit, and still maybe go a little above that no new revenue line, just because of the costs that we have.
Right.
Now, Natasha, let me just ask you, if you had time yet, I know you're on vacation last week, but if you had time yet to, look in the numbers that I'm recommending.
I mean, I started yesterday afternoon, because I just got all the numbers yesterday afternoon from,
Okay.
both, so I haven't completed it. I'm more than halfway through it.
I would be more than happy to listen to what, I was thinking somewhere in about a 1 to 1.5 cent decline from what we were doing last year. That's what I'm looking at, but I want to hear from y'all what you're thinking.
Well, that's the way I look at it, I talked to a guy that works for the appraisal district, and he told me, they always go up. I told him they always go up $6,000-9,000 on everybody's property. Taxes. That's the way I see it. And he said, well, he said that way you commissioners is lower your tax rate to make up the difference. So that's what I was suggesting. Drop ours down a little bit so it don't, because everybody I talk to thinks our taxes goes up. Which I know they do. They'll tell you they did, but they went up quite a bit. Because they keep going up on the value of everybody's property. But we're not dropping the tax rate down. Go with the flow. So I'm not ready, I'd like to see us drop it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Is there an amount y'all want to recommend that we go to?
Well, do we need to wait
Or do you want to-
to?
Yeah, and maybe do a budget workshop.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of looking at, of course, our tax rate last year was 0.789, and 0.757 is the no new tax, but 0.767 is 1 cent
Yes.
off of the no new tax. That generated an extra 200,000, but put a very minimum limit on the U's and Us's of the world, but it would get considerable money on the new pipeline and power plant and oil and gas, and et cetera. We ran an example this morning, Stacy did it for me, and if we, based on the increase on that particular house from the appraisal district, if we went with the 1 cent above the no new tax, it changed the tax to 6 cents. So $1.25 more. So,
For her evaluation.
yeah, for one,
And like I said,
just on that one.
Not everyone's valuation
Yeah,
went up
and
as
some
high as
didn't go up
mine,
as
and
much,
some
some went
didn't go
up
up as
more.
much, some went up more.
But it's just not,
So,
but we definitely need to come off the 0.7.
Let's
We don't need to generate $600,000.
Let me ask Natasha then, when do you think you'll be ready to meet with the commissioner board to go through numbers or recommendations for next year?
I mean, I should be done later this afternoon, getting all the numbers plugged in.
Do y'all want to try to, tell me y'all schedule about having a call meeting? When do y'all have a call meeting? And another good thing is this year, since we're gonna go above the no new tax rate, we will have to have a public hearing. But Stacy informed me we only have to have one, and that can be done the day that we adopt it. Normally, we adopt it the last meeting in September, but we don't have to, we can do it sooner than that,
Whenever you're ready.
but that's kind of what we've always done in Lime.
We could have a budget workshop this week.
We'll do one next week.
Well,
That's fine.
You have to post it right,
just a workshop, you know.
Oh.
Workshop.
Just a work, just
workshop.
a meeting so we can talk. And that's open to the public.
Are y'all okay?
Just keep in mind, if you are going to propose the rate at that workshop, then yes, you do have to have.
Yeah,
those.
but I would say we work on.
I would say do that and propose at the next meeting.
Yeah.
That would be my suggestion.
Stacy said that we.
So 257, you don't have to have 72 hours.
Yeah, we do. Maybe in Tuesday, we could have Friday.
What time, Friday?
We can do it this way, John, but
What about Friday morning at 9 o'clock, that'll give us time to post it?
I think I will. If I can't, I'll let you.
do we have to post a workshop? That we're not taking yet?
Yes. Anytime you need.
And she said we would need to post it, that we want to adopt what we.
Propose.
I think we do that.
No,
I think we do
You were
that.
gonna propose.
We'll do that later.
What we're gonna do.
Let's just go ahead now then, if it's okay with y'all, have one 9 o'clock Friday morning.
They're gonna give us 72 hours. Since
Yeah.
it's already past time.
Will that give us 72 hours? Today's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, it will be fine. Make it 10 o'clock. It's just whether or not we.
Yeah.
But we'll be fine. Let's make it 10 o'clock. That way Jerry can sleep in late.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
They go in there like.
You'll just approve that presentation, we'll.
No, we don't have to make that motion. We don't take any action on that particular item right now.
Thank you, man.
Thank you,
Okay, let's go ahead then and look at the budget transfers. We have two of them. The first one here is going to be from dispatch. And I'll have it for you in just a second. Let's go ahead and look at budget transfer number 474, and that's from dispatch. They're needing to cover some additional cost of supplies, so they're requesting that we reduce their uniform line by $750 and put it over to office supplies. So this is just moving some money where they feel like they need it. What's the commissioner's thoughts on this? Yeah, they're taking it out of the uniform line and put it over to office. Second. We do have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And let's look at the jail right now. That's going to be a budget transfer of 475 for the jail. And that's going to be for the cover and extra expense of disinfectants and personal protection supplies. Keep in mind that all this money right here, we're keeping up with, I think, is what Murray told me. And this is money that we will ask the state to reimburse us through the CARES Act we're going to be applying. So this is a increase in non-food supplies, and the food for jail, we're taking it out of there.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? We'll talk about that. Okay. If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And we'll go ahead and for item 19, adjournment.
We'll move.
Motion and no one wants to second it, so. We do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming. And we will see y'all Friday at 10 o'clock. Friday at 10. Friday at 10.
Expect to be here for that.
10 hours.
Might as well bring snacks if y'all need to stay that long.
You're on the truck.
I'm glad you're about to come down. No, that's okay on that. Heard this.
Well, I'm not very positive about a couple of things. I was gonna ask you that. Like I said, it's not about this. It's just, I need some information from just right now, you know, stuff I'm working on a complicated story about.
Let's make sure we get Bobby on.
Great.